We are spoiling Secret Wars number 9. I do apologize. I don't want to ruin it for you, so please.
We know it came out today, but
I know it came out today. I know that the news outlets are showing the last page a bunch of places, which really frustrated me. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? The comic came out. You go to your store. You do a news blackout. You don't do it. If you don't watch, I get that.
There's a handful of arcs that are already done in all new, all different Marvels.
Yeah,
So I mean,
you have literal trade paperbacks
worth of stories
out now before issue 9.
Yeah.
But there's news, gotta be news. News has to put out their stuff. The fact that the story's been going on forever. And more to the point, my frustration with the Star Wars spoilers was that people were actively going out of their way to find people who didn't know and ruin it for them. And that's a totally different animal from being a news outlet and being like, here's some news. Or here's some spoilers. If you really not want to find out about Secret Wars and you know it came out today, then you just leave your phone off, or you hide your notifications, and you go la la la, and you go to Comixology, download it. You go to Marvel Unlimited, download it, or you go to your store and you buy it, or whatever. It's frustrating, but I get it. So that said, spoilers from there and here on out. The fact that the Marvel Universe now is called the Prime Universe.
Solid name.
Tried and true. You might even say field-tested by the distinguished competition. Forever.
Earth Prime Earth.
Prime Universe, or something like that. I gotta pull it up, because it just... But I was like, I get calling it the Prime Earth. That works. It's fine. But you gotta get... 616 rolls off the tongue. It's 3 syllables.
Felt good.
Yeah, it's 3 syllables. It's short. You can just punctuate it. Boom. You know exactly what universe you're talking about.
You know when those numbers show up, it's important, like when those numbers show up in other things.
Mm-hmm. And as a long-standing Marvel fan, I always liked the idea behind the invention of the 616 moniker, because it meant it was part of a greater tapestry. It's part of a larger universe that we don't even quite understand. And it's just but one cog in the instrument of life. That maybe Earth Prime is this Earth. There's so many different ways to interpret the 616 moniker, and to throw it away like that, I think it's time, but I'm also kind of sad to lose it.
Well, it's funny because designations in general aren't going away, because if you read Web Warriors, all the Earths they go to have number designations.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If they're destroyed, right? If all the universes were destroyed in incursions and then slapdash put together to make Battle World, if Reed and his family rebuilt the multiverse, what are you then are they the same numbers? They can't be, right? Web Warriors has to be totally wrong.
Well, when they get the rights back, they're going to have to tell that book of how the Richards family traveled to all these different universes, named them, and gave them their designations.
Yeah, now, what I really hope, and this is just me being a huge nerd, but I really hope that Marvel, in the next year or two, releases a book. An actual, tangible book that has all the universes and their designations and catalogs, as though it's written from the perspective of the Fantastic Four. I think that'd be really
kind of like what Grant Morrison did with his, 52.
Yeah, exactly. Like Grant Morrison did. Or for Gravity Falls, they're releasing one of the books, one of the journals in its entirety.
Nice.
I want stuff like that. I want a conversation piece that's also part of the greater tapestry of something that I really enjoy. That's just I'm a nerd. I have a proton pack. I got lightsabers. I got swords. I like nerdy iconography that I could.
I also have those things you can see up on my wall.
Yeah, exactly. We all have have tangible pieces of nerddom that we like to create as a tether to that universe. So okay, Secret Wars number 9. I like to say I want to say it's pretty much a 10 out of 10. As far as
it stuck the landing way better than I really thought it possibly could after the delays.
That's the thing. One of the allowances that I was always throwing to it was, this will probably read great in a trade. No question it will. But that said, this issue read great all on its own.
It did. It really did.
Yeah, it was just a solid issue. You got action, you got character, you had pathos, empathy, emotion. You had true characterization and a new direction that I really like, and I'm kind of sad that the All New, All Different Marvel didn't really reflect. I feel like the current, stable of Marvel stuff that's out right now under the All New, All Different label isn't quite living up to the promise of the end of Secret Wars, because I feel like Secret Wars ended with like a boom, new shit, Prime Earth, new multiverse.
Well, it's funny, the way I read it was kind of like, the Richards being like, okay, so now we got to put back everything exactly the way we found it, or else our friends are going to be really pissed at us.
No, I guess that's true. I got the impression, I have a little bit of a different interpretation. Mine is that, like, we got to put Earth back where it was. We got to put, like, Earth 616 as, like, we got to put it back the way it was, but since it's the first one we made, it's technically going to be Prime Earth, and the rest can be whatever we want.
We can do some crazy stuff,
crazy. We can make things that only an 8-year-old boy could possibly imagine.
We can have a Earth ruled by sentient dogs.
Dog world.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it for at least 11 minutes.
At least 11 minutes.
Make it board driven.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. I hope that. Well, I mean, Contest of Champions. Have you read Contest of Champions?
I've really been enjoying Contest of Champions, actually.
Now, Contest of Champions, I guess, capitalizes on the idea of the multiverse, but it refers to the multiverse that we remember. Like, there are some things in there.
And yet, weirdly, the Maestro from that book is one of the few characters who does remember what happened in Secret Wars and goes, no, I'm not the Doc Green Maestro. I'm actually the Maestro from Secret Wars.
Oh, okay. So he's not the Maestro from Future Imperfect. He's his own.
No, he is the Maestro from Secret Wars. He even says, God King Doom tried to make himself a god, and this is one of the universes that was left over after.
Ah, okay. Because I leafed through the first couple of issues, and I was like, okay, this is not for me. Until we got to Punisher 2099.
That was sick. I also love like all the weird one-off characters like Hydra Devil Dinosaur.
Hydra Devil Dinosaur was hilarious, where he was like Hydra Moon Boy, and he's like blah 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 blah.
And in the newest issue, like Bullseye if she was Elektra.
Yes, Elektra Bullseye. I love those things. I want to see some ideas that maybe they played up in Secret Wars, like tie-ins. Like I want Punisher Sorcerer Supreme.
Here's the thing, you should read the newest issue even if you didn't like what came before, because this was a crazy issue. It focused on Stick, like the Stick who got resurrected.
Yeah, he's part of the team. He's part of like the story. Like,
he's the ringer, and as we find you, he cheated death by joining the Contest of Champions.
Oh, that's cool.
So he literally wants the fighting to go on as long as possible, because he's like, yeah, I'm cheating death being here.
Yeah, exactly. The longer I'm here, the less I'm dead.
And then Night Thrasher shows up.
Oh my god, Night Thrasher.
Yes, but here's the thing, they all treat him like the joke that he is.
Oh, that's funny.
It's like the Maestro's like, oh, and here's your newest team member, the greatest hero to ever ride a skateboard, Night Thrasher.
He is an extreme sports superhero. He's wearing a paintball helmet, everybody.
What I loved about it is that when that review went up, there's a whole generation of young kids who are like, I've never heard of this Night Thrasher.
Oh my God.
He seems pretty cool, and I'm like, you would think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, then I've got a team for you. They're called the New Warriors, and you can meet up with Silhouette and Speedball and Night Thrasher. Hell, even Rocket Racer could show up.
And they're like, the New Warriors. You mean that book they had before with like Nova and some other people? No. There was a New Warriors before even them, an old New Warriors.
Yeah, an older New Warriors. Where I think Nova was on that team as well.
But a different version of Nova. Yeah.
A mullet. Yeah, man, New Warriors. What a lousy team.
Always been lousy.
Yeah, I always they should really bring back some of those characters, or at least Rocket Racer.
They did. They had a whole New Warriors book. It was like, it was Sam Alexander, Nova, and like some other people.
Yeah, and Scarlet Spider.
That's right. He was on that team, wasn't he?
That was the only way he could bring that Gage could bring Kane back.
Yeah, it was Yost, not Gage, I think.
No, it was the hell was his name? It's not
I think
Gage,
it was
the other guy.
Yost.
Yost. Thank you. I always get those two confused. Because they both love continuity, and they both seem to love writing for Spider characters, so I just...
Yeah.
Yost is also the one who wrote for Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yes, he did.
He did a hell of a job. It's
Yes.
such a great show. But yeah, so all right, Secret Wars.
Reeling it back now that we've shat all over the New Warriors.
Exactly. Okay, now that we've all had a turn with the New Warriors.
Now that we've all lined them up and flogged them a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. Eat it. Mostly dead characters. I don't know. Here's a question that I'd like to pose. Do you wish they rebooted it? Do you wish they started from zero and Reed was like, everybody gets a fresh start?
I've gone back and forth on that quite a few times. Part of me wishes yes, and then another part of me wishes no, because I'm like, but I was liking the stories I was reading before. You were turning out a lot of quality stuff, and you're still turning out a lot of quality stuff. Now, I still like all the same books I liked before.
Yeah.
The only thing that's really different is X-Men, and I would have been good anyway as soon as they had gotten Bendis off it and gotten fresh writers in.
Yeah. X-Men, man.
I mean, A-Force is cool, but you could have told that story without Secret Wars, even though it's one of the few books that actively makes reference to Secret Wars and a character who remembers what happened.
Another character that remembers exactly what happened, that literally came from Secret Wars to now.
Singularity, yeah.
By the way, I will say A-Force is a great book. It's just
yes, it is. That first issue was tip-top notch.
Yeah, beautiful art, great writing, it was fun. I was
funny as hell.
I was worried because I'm not the biggest G. Willow Wilson fan, but I am a huge Marguerite Bennett fan, so I was like, we'll see what happens. But Willow Wilson did a nice job with it. She really took it to.
I really like Willow Wilson. She's on my list of writers I'd really like to interview.
I don't know how available she is.
I don't think so. She did answer one of my stupid questions on Twitter, which I was really happy about. She was talking about MMOs because Kamala Khan really loves MMOs, and that's because G. Willow Wilson really loves MMOs.
Oh shit, that's fun.
Yeah, and I asked her, I'm like, what kind of build would Kamala Khan run in WoW? And then she actually gave me a big long answer of what build she would run, and I'm like, thank you, G. Willow Wilson, for answering my question.
She gave you a Kamala Khanian answer.
She's like, I've thought about this.
Well, let me tell you.
And I'm like, you out-nerded me, madam.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so... Yeah.
Fresh starts, that's what we were on.
I feel... Yeah, I know. I was like, what? Reboots? Yeah, okay. I feel like I like a lot of the things they're doing with them, but I almost wish that they would have rebooted it with a kind of caveat of every book has a character that's like 70 years old or whatever opens, like, okay, the new Doctor Strange book opened with his origin a la Stan Lee, the way every Marvel comic used to open, where it was like, and there came a day unlike any other, how every Avengers issue opened with a little description of the Avengers, and on that day they became, and then it was the title for the Avengers, and then the credits. I kind of wish that if they did the reboot, that they were like, that they did it, that they relaunch everything gets a fresh start, but it's not on day one. We don't all start with Ultimate Spider-Man #1 and like, look at everybody beginning in this new landscape.
So like 0 issues.
Yeah, almost like what they did with the New 52, and I hate saying that because I really don't like what they did with the New 52.
After all the time we spent, flogging the New 52, it's like, you could have learned a couple lessons from them, maybe.
Well, the fact that they started, a few years, like everything's been around for 5 years.
In media res.
But the idea of paying homage to what came before by being like, using the old kind of like character description or team description, and using in the Doctor Strange one, they used the old Ditko art.
Yeah, which was a great touch.
And showing it there by being like, we're using the old origins. But
this all happened.
Yeah, or like the origins are exactly as you remember them, maybe slightly updated. Like, obviously Tony Stark was not in Vietnam. We're doing that.
As they always have to do for guys like Tony Stark and the Punisher. They have to change their war every couple of years.
Exactly. The only war they don't have to change is Steve Rogers' war.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers becomes more interesting the older everybody else gets.
I know, right? How cool is that?
Yeah. It's funny because whenever I used to think about Steve Rogers on the Avengers, the Avengers were formed in the 60s, he was only asleep for 20 years or so.
Yeah.
So when they unfroze him, he's like, how different is everything? I'm like, it's kind of different. Like, things are a little different, I guess.
There's hippies now.
Yeah, there's hippies now, and I'll bet you don't like those. But when they unfroze Cap at the end of Captain America the movie, when he comes out into Times Square, the 70-year gap is so much more satisfying.
Smartphones, Twitter, Kardashians, put me back in the ice.
Exactly. Look at Times Square. It's just a huge pop-up ad.
Yeah, really.
It like that reveal is so great. It's why some of my favorite Captain America origins are more written over the last like 20 years or so. Because
I like that they got to ease him into modern society too. They have him like in that safe room where it's like, look, here's a radio and here's sounds from your time. Where it's like, no, if we start him in on the internet and everything, now his head's going to explode.
Exactly. Look at this moderately dressed lady with really oldly crimped hair. Deal with that. I really liked how they did that, and interestingly enough, it's funny. Hickman really did not want to deal with any of the he didn't want to deal with Captain America in a big bad way in this series.
Sure seemed that way because they got rid of him super quick.
Got rid of him before the damn thing even starts. Like the world blows up in him, just squishes him basically.
Which ironic because he was writing Cap in the other book though, so it's not like he got away from him too hard.
That's true. He had his own story, but
people forget that he was writing both books.
That's right. But they don't use. But I noticed he didn't play any important role in the formation of the multiverse or in Secret Wars or anything like that. Secret Wars, the two main characters of that book are basically Reed Richards and T'Challa.
Yeah, which is crazy to think T'Challa got such a huge run that they bring him back to the day that everything happened.
Now, here's a
everything
question.
kicked off.
What does that mean?
So
in Secret Wars, if you've read it, and if you haven't, get out of here. But if you've read it, T'Challa, he's fighting Doom with the Infinity Gauntlet, which is an amazing scene and longer than I expected, but not.
He becomes a robot. He becomes a Ghost Panther.
They have a really cool fight, and then Doom, of course, getting the upper hand, and the stones are shattered or missing or break or whatever. In any case, T'Challa.
Well, he finds out that it was all a hornswoggle because they were going for his secret stash. So Doom had to make sure they couldn't get his
bails,
secret stash.
And then T'Challa's like, "F this." Time gem goes back to a scene we've seen before, which is of course the beginning of the whole mess.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that number one, T'Challa replaced himself? And does it mean number two that T'Challa is
remembers
in a time loop where he does he remember how everything goes? Has he been there the whole time?
I guess we're gonna have to pick up the new Black Panther book and see
that, and we'll have to go back and reread Secret Wars and see if T'Challa acts like he knew everything.
Yeah, wouldn't that be some stuff on reread? It's like no. He always knew it was gonna happen.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, no, but it changes though, because the moment when Black Swan and everything attacks, that doesn't happen, and he instead talks about the Wakandan space program and how we will colonize the stars and everything,
which is cool, and I like that a lot. But for me, I was like, they called it Alpha Flight.
Yeah.
There's this Canadian super team. I don't know if you've heard of them, Joel, being from the area.
I've heard of them, eh? If there was a super team that I would join, I'd have to go join them, eh?
It's cool that they used the name. It's annoying. It has nothing to do.
Did he didn't say they were calling it out. He said it's our Alpha Flight, or we're taking our Alpha Flight.
But it was capital A, capital F.
Like this is a thing.
Small TM.
It blew me away when I was reading A-Force this week, because it was the Alpha Flight space station, and I'm like, wait, when did Alpha Flight get a space station? Is this a thing that's happening in the Captain Marvel book that I don't know about?
No.
Or is that T'Challa's space station?
It's definitely T'Challa's space station.
Okay, so Alpha Flight is now a Wakandan space program?
Evidently.
I guess.
Well,
cool.
What does that do for Puck and Sasquatch? And Darkstar?
About my boys, and who else is on that team? No, not Shaman.
No, Talisman?
Talisman, thank you. I knew they had a magic woman.
Yes. And the main guy whose name escapes me, I never remember his name.
The guy who's not Captain Canuck, but who has all the same colors as Captain Canuck. Captain Canuck, who, as far as I can tell, isn't really a World War II comic hero, but the Tourism Board of Canada has tried to build him up to be bigger than he actually is, because they're like, hey, we want our own Captain America.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though he's not owned by any of the big two, so it doesn't matter.
But that was cool. It was a cool idea, but I was also like, all right, I guess that's cool because you used Guardian / Vindicator. Thank you, Laser. slash everyone else in the chat who got there first. I just saw your comment first. But yeah, I'm sad. I'm like, like if you're gonna do something with Alpha Flight, do something with Alpha Flight. Don't just take the name and apply it to something cooler.
That's why in the Black Panther book, Alpha Flight is going to try and sue Black Panther for using their name.
That's not a thing, right?
No, I'm just saying that if I was writing it, that's what I scared you for a second.
I was gonna say because I might be interested in that. I might be okay with that because that'd be fun actually. Because then you could do a whole thing where like maybe She-Hulk becomes an international law lawyer and.
It's funny you should mention She-Hulk. There's rumblings that they were looking for some writers for her book, actually, that they want to try again with her. If you follow Gail Simone on Twitter, she said, I've got so many nice offers from Marvel that I just can't do what with my schedule right now. And then, like, very soon after that, the conversation turned to She-Hulk in her feed. So I'm like, oh, did they offer her new She-Hulk, but she couldn't take it?
Man, I would read a Gail Simone She-Hulk. That'd be a good book.
How good would that be?
That'd be great. I mean, like, yeah.
Hilariously, she said, I wouldn't want to take a She-Hulk book. I wouldn't want to follow Charles Soule because Charles Schulz's She-Hulk was so good.
It was a solid book. That art could not save it. I could not. The covers,
gone too soon.
Kevin Wada's covers, amazing.
Yep.
The interiors could not carry that book. Just didn't work. And
for something that was so smart, so funny.
I saw what you were trying to do. You were doing your whole Jack Kirby thing, but those days are past, my friend.
Gotta make it modern, unfortunately.
You gotta make it modern. Well, like, not necessarily unfortunately. We're in a different time. These are our sensibilities. If you want to read a Jack Kirby book, there's hundreds of issues of Jack Kirby books you can go back and look for. But if you want a book that looks like Jack Kirby drew it, number one, he didn't draw it. And number two, it's going to be harder for you to look for. Like, I don't know. I just feel like...
Another cool thing about the Namor Black Panther thing and why they were such huge focuses throughout Secret Wars and throughout the Avengers run and everything, it's that moment when they face down Doom. Yeah. And Doom is like, I thought if anyone would appreciate what I was doing, it would be you two. You two are kings. You know what it's like to rule over men and that you got to make hard choices sometimes.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if you could come and rule by my side if you wanted. And they're like,
I've heard this story before. No.
Let me guess, join you on the dark side and we will rule the galaxy together as Panther and Doom.
Yeah. I get the feeling you'll unmake me. Like you did with Steve.
Speaking of unmaking, we've gone this long and we haven't even talked about the important role that Molecule Man played in all of this.
Awesome use of Molecule Man. I honestly just assumed, based on Molecule Man being kind of used as a pawn as the catalyst for Secret Wars, that we were kind of not really going to get a lot of Molecule Man.
And he ended up being the true power behind things.
Until they revealed that. Like, when they revealed that a few issues ago, that Molecule Man is the true power hidden beneath the statue and that Doom is drawing power from him, that was when I was like, oh, okay, cool. Molecule Man is going to play a crucial role in this book. And indeed he did. And Reed, of course, had a better plan for Molecule Man as well, which I was I really liked that as well. I was like, that's really cool. Good job.
But part of fixing the multiverse was we got to fix Molecule Man.
We got to fix Molecule Man. I also like that before they even did that, Molecule Man's like, I am kind of a god. Hey, Miles.
Which is such a one because he was the only one who fed him in that whole time. Not only does he let Miles live, does he bring him over to the 616 universe, but he brought his mom back to life too.
And he let him keep Genki.
Yeah. I will let you keep your best friend. I will bring your mom back to life, and you can live in this new world, and you can hang out with Peter Parker again, and he'll be your friend, big brother.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot.
What a beautiful moment that Miles was rewarded for such a simple act of kindness.
Yeah, that's really cool. I honestly expected something dumber. I expected it to be because it was an old burger, right? He's like, why do you have a burger? It's been in there for 3 years. He's like, yeah, but we were only in stasis for it only feels like it's a few days. And he's like, that still grows. And it was a big burger. It was like a Five Guys burger. So I really expected there to be some moment where, Molecule Man shows up in the big climactic battle, and then farts a new universe, or he bursts out Doctor Doom's powers. I was expecting something that kind of stupid and juvenile. I'm happy to see that instead it was just, no, goodness is its own reward, but sometimes you get a little something extra. Like, that's a cool thing. It was way better than my silly theory. But it's really
cool. A lot better than what they did with Old Man Logan, who just kind of drunkenly stumbled into the new universe, which they never explained. How did that happen?
Yeah, so Miles has to feed God. So Miles gives God some food, and he gets a reward. So exactly what did Old Man Logan do besides wander? Like, besides stumble into, oh, I'm here too. Like, no.
Literally old-manedly stumble. After we're told, oh, and you will lead an army against God King Doom, and you will be a rallying cry, but none of that happened.
Yeah, not according to Jonathan Hickman. Hickman says no.
But in Bendis's script
That's
up
right,
here.
Bendis like, oh no, he did. And one day I'm going to put out a book, and it'll be crazy. Like, that's amazing.
Bendis do what he do. He's Honey Badger. He don't care.
That's right. I mean, like, the funny thing is, I like Old Man Logan, and I like him in the universe, and that's cool.
Yeah,
like,
he's
I'm
fun
glad
so far.
He didn't go away. It's a cool idea, and I didn't read the newest Extreme X-Men, but like Extreme X-Men,
Extraordinary
X-Men, but I'm sure he's doing cool stuff.
He is, he's, again, mentoring the young time-traveling Jean Grey, only they've kind of switched it now to where she's mentoring him to get off his old ass and come back and help the X-Men again.
Now, wouldn't it be funny if Old Man Logan became the kind of Xavier-type character?
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Here's a question, because I haven't caught on to what happened. What happened to the Jean Grey school? Did it blow up or disappear or get
they moved it to Limbo because that's the only way they can be safe now.
Okay, I know that they moved to Limbo. I didn't know they took the building and shit too. Like,
they took the whole building with them.
Okay, cool. So technically, Wolverine could inherit the Jean Grey school.
Well, they're also boosting Storm harder than they ever have before. She says, "To me, my X-Men."
Oh, she says
and she says, "To me, my X-Men" in the first issue.
I'll be honest, she could pull it off better than Wolverine, that title.
She is pulling it, and Wolverine gives her like a pat on the back and says, "Good going. Oh, you'll do good at this."
Yeah. I guess everybody's been they've been toying with the idea of Storm leading the X-Men forever.
For a long time.
I've never liked it. Like, because
really?
I've never seen her do anything really good with them. Like, I've never seen her actually, like, lead in a good way or
she's the most rational choice is the thing.
She is, but I remember like one of the first times I ever saw her being a leader of the X-Men was pre Secret Wars 1984 when she was the team leader, and nothing really happened. Like, it was just kind of like, okay, there was no big shakeup, there was no really big moment, or
there was no drama or no push to it.
No, and
she just falls into the job very easily.
And they've made her a leader since then. They've made her lead teams of X-Men, like X-Men Gold. Like, she was leader of one of those teams. I can't remember which one, but she's led the X-Men before, and too little fanfare. And I feel like, it could have been cool. Like,
it also feels a little funny and a little cheapened now, knowing what we know about the Illuminati, where Xavier's like, "Hey, Beast, if I die, you get my seat at the Illuminati."
Yeah.
like Storm, you get to run the school, but Beast gets to do the important stuff.
Exactly. Storm, you can fight the Sentinels. Beast, you can stop the incursions. Like.
Which again, you would think he would be the guy for that job because he's super smart and he's nice and everybody likes him and he's been on Avengers teams and he's been all around.
Absolutely.
No one's got a bad word to say about Beast, well, except for maybe Bendis when he kept pushing the idea that Beast might turn evil at some point.
Well, Beast is kind of a jackass. I've always kind of maintained over the last decade or so that he's a huge hypocrite and kind of a douche. I know
that's why he gets to be on the Illuminati, because he can be that morally ambiguous guy too.
Yeah. Now,
where Storm wouldn't be. Storm would be like, "Screw all this, whirlwind."
Whirlwind. You mean her attack from Children of the Atom, where she's like, "Whirlwind, Typhoon."
You bet I do. Typhoon. God, I love that. Typhoon. I would spam the crap out of Typhoon.
Whirlwind.
See, we gotta play that game one of these days. If we ever get together, we gotta play Children of the Atom.
Amazing Elseworlds Exchange. We're gonna play either Marvel superheroes or Children of the Atom. We're just gonna fight Spider Sting. Like, Oh my god.
Berserker Barrage! Berserker
Berserker
Barrage!
That I did a lot. Tornado Barrage. If you've never played the freestanding arcade game of the fighting game of X-Men Children of the Atom, it is a treat and a half. Psylocke is
They released
great.
it on the PS1.
It is. You can also, I think you can get it on the Xbox 360. I know.
I think you can. They put it out just recently.
I got Marvel superhero. I got the Marvel one.
Nice.
I got like 2, 3, 3 Ultra. You know, I got them all. They're amazing.
No one would play me on Children at the Atom after a bit because I learned if you pick Iceman, you can just spam the giant ice balls coming down over and over again, and your opponent can't recover.
Iceman was an amazing character in that game. He's quick. He doesn't take up a lot of space, but he also can do huge attacks. Yeah, I love that.
Also, if you play the Sentinel, you can spam a cheap kick over and over again that will take you all the way to the final battle with Magneto. I could never beat Magneto in that game.
Magneto's hard to play. I can never own with Magneto. But yeah, anyway. But we'll talk about that another time. We should talk about just superhero
video games. That's a
video
topic
games.
right there.
Comic book video games. Maybe next week we'll see. I don't know.
Because there's some really good ones and there's some really shitty ones.
Well, like, and it's funny, they only get better, I think, because when they were kind of pioneering it, you know, like Silver Surfer for the NES is unplayable.
Yes, it is. It's torture. They should use that one at Gitmo.
Yeah.
That's what they should be forced to play.
Yeah, here you can play this. You can play Silver Surfer and
Should be forced to play Silver Surfer.
and Abadox. So, all right, Secret Wars.
You can play Bayou Billy if you're good.
Bayou Billy. I love Adventures of Bayou Billy, man. I played the hell out of that game. All right, let's not do this.
Hard game.
So Secret Wars #9 came out. It came and went. It ended. I'm sure there will not be a lot of references to it at this point. I think like everyone's just kind of trying to move on and just like let it go. Like okay, it's out. It's done.
Sure seems that way for the first arc of everything.
Release. It ended. It came out. This is a huge deal. Not a huge amount of like preamble press. You know, not a lot of like lead up to it. And it's like okay, it's out. But
because people had catch the fever, but then they got over the fever.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. We had a whole show dedicated to the damn thing, and all the tie-ins, and then eventually just like viewership just dropped off.
It reminds me so much of what DC did with Forever Evil, and that was only like a couple months.
Yeah, that's true, and that dropped.
And again, Forever Evil, I would argue, did stick the landing in its own way with its ending, but by that point, it's like we've already moved on.
Yeah, that's true. That's the curse of the of the big two comic book event is that you publish other things at the same time, and if you want the event to be big, like or impactful, it has to come out on time, and
yeah.
I really feel like the only way to make it come out on time is to have it done. Like, is to just be like, okay, who's not working on any major titles right now? Who's really good? And basically just make a graphic novel, but instead of releasing it all...
Just bank it.
Just bank it. Just be like, okay, like, summer. You know, there's going to be an event in the summertime, and I think it's going to be Civil War, but if it wasn't, or maybe if it was... I think David Marquez is drawing Civil War, which is going to be great and look awesome.
Beautiful.
But he's drawn Iron Man, so he's going to be busy, and there's going to be delays, and that's frustrating.
And then you fall into the problem, too, you have with, like, these weekly series, where it's like, yeah, you know, this is cool and everything, but you got to keep trading off writers and trading off artists so they don't get too burned out, and it leaves things feeling just a little schizophrenic at times.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I say that loving Batman Eternal currently. Or Batman and Robin Eternal. I say loving that right.
Yeah. Yeah, I could not. I picked up the first issue of Batman Eternal way back when, and I was like, this is a cool book. Every week? And how many weeks? And I'm like, there's no way this won't be padded.
You could have done that in half the time, and I think they learned that for Batman and Robin Eternal. It's like, okay, let's cut this story in half, keep it to a lean 26.
It's a good idea. I mean, like... I get what they were doing, and they'd already plotted it out, so there's no way for them to kind of take back what they were planning, but damn, like, what a mistake, 52, or however many issues they did.
You could cut a lot of filler from Batman Eternal, but again, it's okay, because Batman and Robin Eternal is the far superior sequel.
Good, I'm glad. I'll pick it up then, because I was not... when they announced Batman and Robin Eternal, I'm like, I'm not in for another 50 whatever issue. I'm not doing that. Like... especially with the meh response. People are like, it started out strong and it ended strong, but there's a lot of stuff you can skip. Like, no,
It spins its wheels for a long time. Batman and Robin Eternal has not been spinning its wheels yet. Everything it's done has been important.
That's awesome. Okay, so there's gonna be. I think they're gonna ignore Secret Wars after it's over. I think it's just gonna. It's gonna go by the wayside.
It came and it went. It did its thing.
It did its thing.
We flirted with restarting our universe, and at the end we didn't pull the trigger on it. It seems.
Yep, they sure didn't. And especially as we gear closer towards Civil War, they're going to be. I think with Bendis on board for Civil War, and with Hickman out of the picture entirely, I feel like we're going to see a much similar Marvel universe to what we saw maybe like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's going to be referencing continuity. They're going to pick and choose their continuity. They're going to pick and choose their characterization. There's going to be some tie-ins, but I bet you there aren't going to be as many as there were. I mean, obviously, because Secret Wars was a more or less a reboot, so every title had to have something else coming out.
Right.
Like everything had to stop.
I think, too, we're going to see further movies and TV shows helping to drive the direction of the comics, because let's not forget, we had, like, big announcements of, like, oh, yeah, there's a new Punisher comic coming out, and there's a new Blade comic coming out, and then that's kind of stalled, because, like, we're going to wait and see what direction the new TV show / movies go, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's true. So, all right, what do you think? Was Secret War a success?
Ultimately, I will say yes. I think, as we've been trumpeting from the beginning, I think it will read very well in trade. Again, mark my words, some guy from Rolling Stone will probably pick it up like a year from now and be like, man, this was a transcendental work here.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, man, yeah, no, Secret Wars will find... will get a much-deserved place on the mantle.
I think it will join Blackest Night and Dark Knight Returns and Civil War and everything of, like, when you go to your Kohl's bookstore, what events do they always have collected?
Yep. Oh, Forever Evil, Civil War, I mean, like...
Secret Invasion.
The funny thing is, every time that I see Secret Invasion on the shelf at, like, a bookstore, it's never Secret Invasion. It's one of the damn tie-ins for Secret Invasion.
It's never the whole thing.
It's never the whole damn thing. Which is frustrating also, because you got Infinity, which is an event that I would love to have collected, just the core book.
An event that happened throughout the course of Hickman's Avengers.
Yeah. Infinity. Cool idea, did not deliver.
Hey, but we got the Inhumans out of it.
Yay.
As always, Sal is a raging anti-Inhumanite.
Anti-Inhumanite.
It's going down to his...
I hate the Ultra Humanite.
Going down to his anti-Inhuman rallies and everything.
I'm a Terragenicist.
I like that. Man, it's funny. Like I know you because you don't like the Inhumans, you probably didn't pick up all new Inhumans, or not all Inhumans, the Uncanny Inhumans.
I picked up Uncanny Inhumans number 0, which was written by Soule and drawn by McNiven. It was cool looking, but it wasn't enough. You
probably would dig what they're doing with it now, because it's Quicksilver's ex-wife. What's her name? Crystal. Yes, it's Crystal and the Young Inhumans. Because they've split the Royal family and the Young Inhumans. They're traveling around the world in an airship, basically, and they're recruiting new Inhumans from all over the world. And they're embroiled right now in a situation with a total North Korea stand-in, and because this North Korea stand-in, Sing Kong is what it's called, and they're hoarding Inhumans, and they're like, no, we have no WMDs, we have no Inhumans of mass destruction, And like Queen Medusa's like, no, seriously, cousin, don't start an international incident over this. Please don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do that because I'm Quicksilver, and that's what I do.
Or Quicksilver's wife, and yeah.
Oh yeah, Crystal. That's funny. I always think of her as Johnny Storm's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, it's like, and they're both on a team now. Johnny Storm and Quicksilver
messing around with Inhumans. That's funny. Have they bitten the bullet or Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver Inhumans yet?
No, they never bit the bullet and all that. They are creations of the High Evolutionary. They are not Inhumans.
That is so weak. Because the High
Felt like
Evolutionary is so stupid.
I get the feeling they were right up to the cusp of pulling the trigger on making them Inhumans, and they're like, nah, the internet figured it out, though.
Not only that, but I think the internet collectively was like, don't do that.
So they retconned the retcon and took it back a step further, because that's originally their origins were connected to the High Evolutionary.
That's true. He's so lame. The High Evolutionary and Counter Earth are so crappy. I don't care who I piss off when I say that Counter Earth is stupid, but it is.
You know, you say that until they eventually pull that out for like Avengers 6, where it's like, yo, Counter Earth and the High Evolutionary.
I really hope they don't. You know what? That sounds more like an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of idea.
They can fight the Counter Evolutionary.
You know what'll happen? An evil Coulson will show up, and he'll be from Counter Earth.
And he leads the Unmen, the Agents of the Unmen. No, that's what they're called, actually.
I know, but I mean, like, that'll be and they'll do a whole fake opening of the show where it's like, you know, ABC's Unmen. That'll be a thing. No, don't get me Evolutionary War. Don't do it.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because when they defeated him at the end of like the kind of filler Uncanny Avengers run, when they defeated the High Evolutionary, he's like, you know, the second Evolutionary War will be upon us soon, which felt like they were planting a seed for an event that's never going to come.
Or they were just like, you know, it'd be funny if we implied we were going to do one, but we never will. Or if anybody wants to, you know, go for it. The Evolutionary War is so crappy. It's crappy. Is it as crappy as Atlantis Attacks? I don't know. I think almost. It's about as bad.
I don't know, man. It's hard to top Snake Guys.
Set. At least Set is a Conan villain, and that's kind of cool because of how badass.
At least he's James Earl Jones.
Yeah. Yeah. If James Earl Jones' character had shown up in Atlantis Attacks, at least it would have been kind of cool. But no, we got Gore, the Deviant, and
good name.
Stupid. Anyway, I think Secret Wars was a success. I think that it took too long to come out. It wasn't I don't think it was a publishing success, like a serialized, you know, on time, you know, chronological success. But I think that
from a storytelling point of view,
it's a great story. I think it will read great in the trade. I think that it'll be a celebrated work. I think people who do love it now are gonna sell it to people who don't know or won't know. And
there were lots of good tie-ins too. Like, I liked Planet Hulk. I liked A-Force, which obviously they liked A-Force too because it became a thing.
For me, that should be the greatest success of Secret Wars. Secret Wars should be the real true success for Secret Wars is proof that readers will buy a out of continuity, self-contained story because. Yeah. And I hope that the sales are big on the trades, because that's really going to be the big push. Like, they really need to push that shit, because, like...
Years of Future Past, Renew Your Vows. Yeah, 1870.
1872, 1602, Witch Hunter Angela.
Which technically became Red Wolf, because that's picking up from the same continuity. I don't know if you read Red Wolf #1, but they're still in Timely. They're still doing the stuff. It's just we lost track of all the other Avengers characters that were cool.
Yes, and then well, let's not spoil it, but yes.
He pulls a Jonah Hex. Longtime comic reader fans will know what we're talking about there.
Exactly. Speaking of which, I think Jonah Hex is going to appear on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, everyone was tweeting me about that because they know what a sick Jonah Hex fan I am.
Yeah, despite the fact that movie is really bad.
Oh, it's absolutely terrible.
It's not even funny. Like, it's not even fun to watch.
Did I ever tell you the story Jimmy Palmiotti told on his podcast back when he had one? Apparently they invited him down to the set and everything, and they're like, yeah, you know, you write the comics and everything. That's really cool. We'd like to put your name on the movie. Much like if you remember for the Green Lantern movie, they put Jeff Johns' name on it, but not the name of the original Green Lantern creator.
No.
And of course, Jimmy Palmiotti's like, well, no, because you're not really using my work here. You're using more kind of like the Image. Who's the Bubba Hotep guy who also writes comics?
I don't remember his name.
He's such a nice man too. He's been on so many things that I would. He's a writer. He's an author. He's he wrote Batman the Animated Series episodes. How do I not remember his name? He does Hap and Leonard. Land something.
Was it Andy Lanning? Was that what you were talking about?
No, I don't think so.
Joe
God damn.
R. Landale?
Joe Lansdale, thank you.
Lost road visions.
Thank you, chat, for helping me with my terrible brain fart.
I would not have remembered that name.
Joe Lansdale is a cool dude. He's written a lot of great stuff.
Cool. But so Palmiotti is like, no.
Yeah, he's like, no, don't put my name on it.
Yeah. Good thing he didn't, because it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. Like, it's not even a fun experience. Ethan brought it over one time. He's like, I rented it from Redbox. We should watch it. Like, oh, okay. And like halfway through it, we're like, can we turn this off? Like,
it's a shame too, because what is it? Josh Brolin in a better universe could have made a perfect Jonah Hex.
I mean, the idea behind, like, in the renaissance of comic book movies, plus Josh Brolin, plus a western, the damn movie could have made for like $20 million and looked like Unforgiven, and instead it looked like Wild Wild West.
What's even crazier about Jonah Hex? Michael Shannon is in it for a minute, and Michael Fassbender is the heavy in it.
Yeah.
What a weird thing. I remember reading some interviews. Apparently, Brolin didn't want to do it at first. You know what's the only reason he took it?
No.
He took it because someone said, no, it's okay. It's supposed to be this way. It's tongue-in-cheek. And he's like, oh, so it's a comedy then.
Oh, it's
okay,
stupid.
I'll take it
it's
then.
not stupid. It's cool. Damn.
I love too that when Jonah Hex fans, like hardcore Jonah Hex fans, heard rumblings that Megan Fox might have been Tallulah Black, who's such a cool character
I've heard
in the
that.
comics. When they heard that it was Transformers Megan Fox, they lied through their teeth to Jonah Hex fans. They're like, no, she's playing a totally different character. She's not Tallulah Black. Then the second she shows up, hey, Lula Black, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you lied to us.
Yeah.
You lied to our
We
faces.
do. We're professional liars. That's all we know how to do. What do you want? So yeah, Secret Wars. Going back to Secret Wars, just wrapping it up. Damn, this issue was so good. So many cool. Oh, what was your favorite moment from the book? What was the coolest moment?
Ooh, favorite moment, period. That's tough. There's a lot of hard stuff
There's
there.
so many great. I mean, like, just as far as pure cool goes.
I guess. I guess I think one of my favorite moments comes early on, and that is when they find the ship, when the scholars of AIM find the ship, and you're like, oh good, the heroes are in here, they're gonna put everything right. Then boom, Thanos comes out. Oh no, it was the wrong ship.
That was an amazing moment.
And when Thanos looks at the big wall, he's like, I'm tearing this mother down. We're burning it down, Pookie. We're burning it all down.
That was pretty spimp. Man. As overall moment, I don't know. I really love that moment when Doom pulls Thanos' whole skeleton out of his body.
That fatality, duality.
Fatality on him. But as far as this one issue, for me, the moment that I was like, yes, was just Reed using his stretchy powers to fight Dr. Doom.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Coiling around Doom, being like, we're having an old-fashioned Fantastic Four fight.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Tiff doesn't yell from the other room. There, Doctor Strange.
Well, like he did some cool. Like, what did he do in Secret Wars? Like the main book that was really cool. Besides die.
Well, he kept everyone secret. He kept the heroes safe.
Like, overall, yes, but there's no one moment in the 1 through 9 issue.
Oh, well, the conversation he has with Doom in the garden, where we find out they've become weirdly friends over this time, and that Strange was kind of like a turncoat collaborator with God King Doom to save the rest of the universe. He's like, yeah, I've really messed up my morals on this one, guys.
Man, there's another moment. You know what's, for me, honestly, my favorite overall thing has to be still issue 1. Just everything that was cool about issue 1.
When your mind was boggled, you're like, what is even this?
Yeah. Also, of course, Hickman just being like, hey, guess what? I could also write a great Punisher story. Just wanted you to know that. Bye. Like. Oh
yeah, when the world is dying all around everyone, and all the heroes are trying to fight for their survival, what does Frank do? He shows up to the bad guy bar and just like, hey, everybody.
We were talking about this in that issue. When that issue came out, we were talking about it. And the whole, like, Kingpin email to all the bad guys, like, we're having one last round on me, and they were like, I can't believe that, like, how did Frank know that email went out? And I go, how do you know Frank didn't send that email? And they're like,
Which that's a whole story. How did he know the world was ending? Came back from LA where he was at the time, killed the Kingpin, got a hold of his email.
Oh yeah,
and
just was like, oh, you were logged in a Gmail. Great to know. Do.
he's just going through a junk mail. Viagra. Look, he wants to up his Loot Crate subscription. Here we go.
Oh.
Yeah. But mass to all the villains.
Exactly. Oh, you have a save group.
Let's see what we have here. Dr. Midas 34, Bullseye 69. I would love to know what all the villains, what their work emails are.
I guarantee you they're just their stupid names with hilarious numbers attached to them.
XX420 Mirror Master. Now that's DC, but still.
Yeah, but still. No, you could still make that joke.
That'd be the thing. They put just like dumb little X's and 420s in it and everything.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, there you go, guys. Secret Wars, a rousing success. It will only get like a fine wine. I think it will only get better with age.
Yeah, I think this one will age very well too. And yeah, the fact that we kind of got to be here and we'll tell a younger generation of comic fans, it's like they threatened they were going to end the whole universe, and we thought it was going to be a redo of the old Secret Wars, where everyone just fights on a planet. Then we picked it up, and it's this weird Game of Thrones thing where God is Doom is God, and he's puppet mastering all these people.
Exactly.
We had no idea what was going on, man.
Idea. And it's so cool, and it was cool, but it took forever to come out.
Yeah, it's like you weren't there, man. That year wait was murder, man.
That will be a really cool experience, like in a couple of years, when someone's like, "Whoa, I love this Secret Wars," and they're like, "Oh yeah, what's your favorite character from Marvel?" And they're like, "Like this one." And like, well, there's a friggin' tie-in for it that has this huge self-contained story.
Yeah.
Like trade picking, like just. Yeah, waiting for that, or at least like having that readily available, is going to be great. It's going to be super.
It's true.
Cool. I envy that experience, because waiting for all those books to come out was a pain in the ass. But I got to tell you, it was worth. Was it worth the wait? That's a great question. Was it worth the wait? I think yes.
Somewhere, yes.
I think that overall the book was like. I'm glad they didn't rush it. I'm glad they didn't switch the artists. I'm glad they didn't take, because we've seen that where Marvel's done a huge event and they're like, and we've got 7 different writers and artists on it. Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
No.
One writer.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Perfect example of an event with too many cooks in the kitchen and too much shifting art. Robin War, which also had its final issue today.
How did that turn out? I noticed that you on Twitter were not very big on it.
I didn't like it.
No, it was. Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but I mean, it only has one more issue, and who knows?
Man, no, it's done. This is the last one, Robin War.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I haven't read it yet, though.
Okay. Well, have you been keeping up with it up until this point?
No. I read the first issue. Was like, oh, okay, Civil War with Robins. I don't care.
Man, talk about two diametrically opposed. Like the golden goose egg and the flaming turd. I'll let you know which one is which.
Yeah, I have a feeling I could probably guess it. So yeah, let us know in the comment section down below, guys. Favorite moment from Secret Wars? What was your favorite moment, breakout moment from the whole damn thing? And you could use the tie-ins or the prelude, because Secret Wars more or less is just Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four all the way to this.
All the way from Marvel Now. Holy crap! Wow. When you stop and think about that,
right?
I can remember being a fresh-faced young YouTube comic book guy when all new, when Marvel Now was happening. It's like, yeah, we're gonna review more Marvel books now than ever. I don't know about this Hickman book, man. It's really involved, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It was very like, yeah. People were telling me about how great Fantastic Four was under Hickman, and I was like reading the first couple of issues. I'm like, okay, what the crap is happening? Like, you gotta
give him a year. You gotta give him like 3 years.
I mean, like, what's funny? I was just watching Max Landis talk about Mary Sue characters, and he was really annoyed about the justification for Star Wars, where he's like,
I've watched the same video
where he was like, you can't. He's like, no, you gotta wait 2 years for the next movie to explain and give you the context for and fix all the problems that you have with this movie, and he found that to be like asinine and frustrating.
It is a little bit.
For me, but it's funny because like it's like, well, no, like with Fantastic Four, you gotta trust me. After a year, the book will make perfect sense, and you'll be glad you slogged through
Some people really do play the long game, and Hickman is one of them.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, some people do that, and it doesn't hold up or doesn't work.
It's true.
I've been there for those. This one, it works. It's just because you know what's funny? He doesn't get bored. I think that's what it is.
No.
I think as a writer, he doesn't get bored with his own ideas. He doesn't change the idea halfway through.
He likes what he likes, and he sticks to it.
Yeah, it's almost like he wrote the damn thing, or he has like a chart, and he's like, I've got it all planned out, and I'm gonna do all of it, and in each year has a different tick mark of like what happens and how everything fits into each other, and for me that's so rare in comics today where there is like a master plan. And
Oh yeah.
I feel like Jonathan Hickman would be a damn great editor. I think he needs to.
Probably.
I think he needs to start considering moving up or moving
But
sideways to editing because
perfect example of a writer who gets bored way too easily. Brian Michael Bendis.
man. I mean, like, it's funny. I've seen him play the long game with characters. Ultimate Spider-Man for one, where he just really. He will get bored, but then change it. But because of the nature of the title, it worked to his strengths. New Avengers is another one where he literally played the long game with Secret Invasion. Where, like, you can see Skrulls in Avengers Disassembled. Like, there are Skrulls there in silhouette when the Avengers Mansion blows up, and you're like, that's cool. Dude's been playing the long game. The only problem was Secret Invasion doesn't hold water. Like, the end of it doesn't work. And
I'm talking like his whole X-Men run, too, where, like, after 2 arcs, he was bored.
He was clearly... I think that was... The problem with that was, I think Bendis was just like... I think he was more excited about the idea of writing the Avengers than
actually writing the X-Men.
We were talking about this in our live show when we hit 25,000 subscribers. When we were talking about that during a live show, which unfortunately was deleted and we'll never see it, somebody asked me what my Spider-Man pitch was, because everybody's got a Spider-Man pitch. I don't have a Spider-Man pitch.
I don't think I do either, actually.
One of my favorite characters, I don't have a great, solid Spider-Man pitch.
I got Batman pitches.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Batman, you could write Batman for days. And once
True.
again, for me, Batman books are just self-contained graphic novels, that's whatever. But Spider-Man, I don't have a solid Spider-Man book. And even like the individual, I had one in like a one-off, like a one-shot issue. And even that, I was like, it doesn't really work anymore. It's not like they've kind of done it already at this point. But if Marvel were to call me and say like, you have to do, like we want you to do Spider-Man, I don't know. I can't really, like, I couldn't, in all consciousness, take the damn deal because I don't have a solid pitch. And I think that Bendis was more like, cool, X-Men, rich history, 1,000 characters, a big world, lots of...
I get to invent my own.
I can make up my own characters. I can play with continuity. I can play with past events. They've got godlike characters. They got space and subterranean. Like from the deepest regions of the sewers to the highest stars in the sky. I can go anywhere from here. And I think either it was too big for him, or he just plain didn't have a good X-Men pitch. He just like,
he just sits there in front of the page. And he's just like,
oh crap.
Time travel, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going around these days.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's just like I don't have that. Like,
I mean, heck, say what you want about Dan Slott, but the man can come up with new Spider-Man stories like every month.
The man, you know what? I think he's getting to the end. I think he's either that or he's like, no, now I can write any Spider-Man story I want. He's right in there. Like, he could be a lot.
Did you read the start of the newest arc?
With Mr. Negative?
Yes.
Yeah.
That felt. I'm like, this feels like the bi-monthly schedule is starting to hurt you now a little bit. Where it's like, my original villain, Mr. Negative, and Cloak and Dagger, I guess. Yeah. I'm like, that's not a great follow-up from the Zodiac. Yeah.
Zodiac wasn't even that great either.
It's like, no, but it's okay. I clearly have Satan walking around in the background recruiting old Spider-Man villains, so it's okay. Cool. Yeah, but where did that story go?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that Spider-Man. I can't even get into that book anymore. Because, like, all new, all different. He's in a whole new direction. He's going to fight the Zodiac.
Yeah.
That and, like, tick, tick, tick. Like, oh, Anna Maria, I love you. Like, oh, my God. First of all, I saw that coming from, like, 2 years ago. Second of all, Really, you're gonna? And he's like he's like, yeah, ha, ha. I'm like, really? He's evil? Like you develop this whole character and you're gonna do nothing with him.
You're going to regress him back to evil. Well, because eventually when Marvel and Sony do another Spider-Man movie, they're going to want to do Dr. Octopus again, and they're going to want him to be a bad guy again.
Now that said, I can't wait.
Me too. Dude, get Alfred Molina back. Alfred Molina should do it again.
He nailed it. That's, for me, like, I hate Spider-Man 2 in the context of an Avengers world or an MCU world. Peter Parker sucks. He's just a horrible Peter Parker. He's borderline abusive. Like I don't have a girlfriend, but sometimes I do. I don't know. And she's like, what? Like that's called emotional abuse, buddy. But but Doc Ock rocks, man. That his whole thing was great. It was fun.
And what a different take on Doc Ock too, to be like I am the man who you could be. I'm a nerd and I'm weird, but I found a weird nerd wife and I live a happy existence together and I get to do science and everything.
Yeah, this is who you could be if you didn't have an uncle.
I'm kind of out of shape, but I'm kind of buff at the same time.
Exactly. No, I'm 50s fit. I'm a 50s-esque actor where I might be fit. You don't know. I've got it all high under my high-waisted pants.
I love he said when he was working out for that movie, he did like 1950s wrestler like workouts, like lifting the like big metal ball and everything and doing all other stuff.
Yeah. I will say, no, I loved Spider-Man 2 when it came out. Like, that movie, I was like, this is perfect.
I still like it.
I
think those first two hold up really great.
The first two they're fun, but in a world where where Iron Man exists, it's like, oh, it could be so good now.
And maybe it will.
And hopefully it will be, and I want to see that. I want to see...
That's the hope, that now that Marvel has their hand in it now, maybe the next one will be mind-blowing.
That's the hope, man. At the very least... Oh, go ahead.
How weird is it that we live in a day and age now, or we will soon live in a world where there'll be like 3 different movies that could be called Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, there's literally going to be 3 Spider-Man 2s.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things I liked about Amazing Spider-Man 2. Or Amazing Spider-Man 2. I kind of
I liked considerably less.
That costume rocks. Like it's
okay, that's the best on-screen version of the Spider-Man costume, yes.
Easily. Also, I thought the Rhino was hilarious.
But Paul Giamatti yelling indistinguishably.
Yeah, I think that's funny. Yeah, there were a lot of things that I kind of dug about that. Not any of the Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin stuff that they clearly put in there for no reason, but...
Oh, you mean Big Bang Electro?
That was like, what the hell?
They should have just got that friggin' Sheldon Cooper actor, because that's clearly who they were writing.
Clearly they should have done that. That is garbage. But yeah, all right, we're going off track. We could just do a whole episode where we just talk about Spider-Man 2 and how... and like, which Spider-Man 2? Both of them.
Hey, in the lead up, let's earmark that. Let's do a whole episode where we talk about all the Spider-Man movies.
I love that. Spider-Man movies and comic book video games. Those are 2 shows.
Remind us, fans, if we forget, because we're probably not going to write these down.
Nope, I know I'm not going to. I'm going to put it in the chat after the episode's over. But Secret Wars number 9, let us know in the comment section down below. What was your favorite moment from all of Secret Wars? We have some favorites. There's some breakouts. I know I forgot a couple. I know that I'm going to reread it and be like, oh, that was it! And
it's true.
That's the great part about Hickman's writing, is it's rereadable. Like, that's...
Yeah, definitely.
It's indisposable. It's indispensable. That's...
Definitely.
That's awesome. And once again, I'm going to put this out there. I think Hickman should be an editor.
Just putting that out to the universe. Hey, John, if you're watching...
Yeah, please, be an editor, because we need good ones.
Sal thinks you need to change your career.
People who are like, hey, your story, you don't clearly have an end for it.
It makes no sense. There's no rise and fall. There is no drama.
Yeah, exactly. You make a reference to something really important here, and then it never pays off. People notice this shit. Even if you don't notice it with your eyes, your brain did. So,
your brain did.
Your brain did. So,
God, Red Letter Media. Dude, do we need to do a Red Letter Media episode, too?
Maybe that's the only way they'll get our attention.
Yeah.
Red Letter Media, please watch this episode. We love you. Oh God, I might actually just buy Space Cop just to get their attention.
Yeah, buy Space Cop show. It's like, hey, we really like this. Would you like to come on our show and talk about it?
Right? They're gonna be like, no. There's actually a part in if you order Space Cop. There's like, is there anything personal you'd like to say to us?
Oh, really?
I'm like, really? I'm like, I think you're cool.
Your reviews are great.
Yeah, you guys are great.
What else do I gotta say?
Yeah, I wish I had a warehouse.
Yeah.
That is amazing. But
That warehouse is cool. I wish Max Landis cared enough about what I thought to come on my show.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I've been researching warehouses. It's hella expensive, especially in Jersey.
What you need to do is you just got to find the old abandoned warehouse that the Power Rangers were always fighting at, and you just set up there.
Yeah, but then one of their giant Megazords will crush it and kill us all.
Always the problem with the old abandoned warehouse. It's either that or some other gang has already taken over the old abandoned warehouse, so
or
you can't
some
get your
girl
film
is dancing in it.
Always.
That's a Flashdance joke for all of you young kids out there. You'll love that one.
Or Kevin Bacon won't stop dancing out his aggression.
Exactly.
It's like, hey man, we're trying to film here.
Yeah, we're trying to shoot a show here at Kevin Bacon. If you want to be on the show, that's fine, but you're gonna have to be dancing in the dark someplace else. All right, guys, we'll see you guys next time in an all-new episode of the Elseworlds Exchange. This was kind of all over the place, but you know what? That's the show.
That's the appeal of
the Elseworlds
EE.
Exchange. Yeah, it's just all one big tangent. We start with Secret Wars, hopefully end it with Secret Wars, but whatever happens in between is just...
It's like Sal does tangents from his other videos.
Yeah.
You couldn't do a tangent for Elseworlds Exchange because it's literally all one gigantic tangent.
The show would be like 8 minutes long. That'd be it. But yeah, hopefully next week we'll resume our conversation and see which one of those two topics we pick. I would like to do that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to check out Kate Joel in the description box below this video.
Thank you.
Bye.